I'm back, and as you can see, I'm now on video. Bear with me as my son is also helping me navigate all the technicalities of getting my face on camera while I toggle through my presentations. While we're making progress, we still have some tweaks with how this will all display, so you'll notice subtle changes as this moves forward. Anyway, as I mentioned last week, I hadn't planned to trade at all this week as I was traveling to Minnesota for a funeral. But as it turned out, Monday's travel plans changed at the last minute and I found myself making a 7 hour drive alone. I spent most of the drive listening to trading podcasts and just thinking about things. After everything that happened in last Friday's video, this one broke me. I already felt like I was recovering emotionally. But those 7 unexpected hours alone helped me reset in a way I didn't realize I even needed. Tuesday morning, before the funeral services began, I unexpectedly had a few free hours. Even though I hadn't planned on trading, I did end up bringing my laptop just in case. And feeling much calmer than I had in a while, decided to open the markets and trade for a little bit. The result? I lost about $250. And honestly, I couldn't have been happier. It never feels good to lose money, but for the first time since creating this discipline score system, I finally respected what I believe is my single most important rule, my $250 maximum daily loss. Because of that, my discipline score came in at a 9.2. I earned perfect 10s for waiting 30 minutes, position sizing and count, options control, stop loss discipline, emotional control, and most importantly, maximum daily loss. As many of you know, that last category has been my biggest weakness for months, and last Tuesday I finally honored it. And because I did, everything else fell right into place. My first trade wasn't until 9:55 and almost immediately found myself up $75. But shortly afterward, the market slowly turned against me, and from that point on, my position in Apple, Nvidia, and Tesla all fluctuated between small losses and losses approaching my daily limit. As my P&L hovered closer and closer to that negative 250 line, I watched it like a hawk. Of course, a big part of me kept hoping the markets would reverse and that it wouldn't be another red day, but it never did. When my losses were hugging that $250 limit and the charts no longer gave me any reason to stay in, I closed my three positions, shut everything down, and walked away. And it hurt. But for the first time in a very long time, I was proud of how I traded instead of disappointed by how I finished. As we left for the funeral, the feeling of knowing my account had taken a manageable loss instead of another devastating hit far outweighed the pain of losing $250. It's honestly hard to describe how good that felt. To be honest, the only disappointing part was knowing I wouldn't have a chance to record and share my excitement with all of you for another couple of days. But to me, Tuesday felt like a genuine turning point, and I'm positive days like that are going to be happening more and more often. Yesterday, I drove home and once again did not trade. I had another 7 hours alone in the car, and this time to reflect my good trading decisions from the day before, as well as listen to more podcasts from traders I admire. And by this morning, I was excited to see if I could continue that momentum. Unfortunately, it did not happen the way I had planned. Today's discipline score dropped to a 5.6, reminding me once again that progress isn't always a straight line. There were still positives, though. I again waited more than 30 minutes before taking my first trade, kept my position count under control, and stayed focused primarily on just two stocks, Apple and Tesla. But several old habits did return as well. Two or three times I doubled my maximum position size by trading 100 shares of Tesla. I averaged down multiple times. I let emotions influence several decisions, and on two occasions I actually removed my stop losses as I was convinced Tesla would come back based on how I was reading the chart and how volatile it had been trading. This time it did work, but as always, that wasn't discipline, it was just luck. I was also struggling with my daily maximum loss rule. A few times my account moved slightly beyond my negative 250 limit, and at one point reaching roughly $265 unrealized losses. Instead of immediately exiting, I convinced myself that was temporary because Tesla appeared to be sitting at support. And while I kept my finger on the sell button and was prepared to exit if it moved any farther, I still chose not to sell when my rule required me to do so. Thankfully, Tesla reversed a few seconds later and I avoided a larger loss, which would have been if my template stops that were still in place actually triggered. But I know that still technically defeats the purpose of the rule. For today's score, I gave myself a 5 instead of a 0 in the maximum daily loss category because I viewed it as a small violation rather than completely abandoning the rule. I don't know. I think part of that kept me in knowing that the stops were still in place, there to protect me much farther to the downside. But that still doesn't excuse the fact that I should have altered my template stop to close me out at $250 even. Honestly, at this point, I'm still not sure what the right decision even is. But the one thing I do hope is this project becomes a conversation. So if anyone watching has any thoughts or even critiques, I'd genuinely love to hear them. Should any violation of the maximum daily loss rule automatically earn a zero? Or is there room for partial credit like I gave myself today, especially if stops are still in place? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Overall, it's been an emotional week. I had 2 solid days away from the markets, one of the most disciplined losing days I've ever had, and one reminder the old habits still don't disappear overnight. All combined with saying goodbye to a family member I've known and loved my entire life. This week has been emotional in more ways than one. But there's one thing I'm taking away from all this, it's this. While I'm not there yet, and I know this will never be perfect, I am improving. It may be slow, but I'm a better trader than I was a few months ago, and I'm certainly better than I was this time last year. Thank you for continuing to stick with me through the highs and lows, and I truly appreciate every one of you. I'll see you tomorrow after the market closes.